Segment 1 of the DVD is meditation instruction. I've included a rather technical description of what meditation is, and also some instruction for a woman who perhaps doesn't have a regular meditation practice, how to meditate on the heart. In my in-person workshops, I always begin with a meditation of about 20 or 25 minutes. I do this because it sets the stage. It helps women, I think, absorb the information of the workshop better. And also it's a way of honoring the universal self. You know, we're both the personal self and the universal self. We contain the divine within us. And so it's a way of saying at the beginning of the workshop, this is really who we are. This is what we share in common. In this place, we are all one. And then I normally go around the circle and have each woman introduce herself, because that's the way of then honoring the personal self as well. Segment 2 of the DVD is what I call the story. I suppose you could say it's the story of how the DVD came into being, but I did 5 years of energetic work, beginning with unplugging the patriarchy. That was a 2.5-year energetic project, which is captured in my book of that name. And then I went on to do 2.5 years of unplugging the patriarchal female. So I really examined at that point and researched and drilled down into myself to examine the energies of female conditioning as it has been passed down to us through the patriarchal era, in an effort to clear it within myself. So the workshop is, and the DVD really captures the essence of all of that work that was done. I tell the story of how it came into being because as a mystic I know that stories have power. It's also a rather interesting story of how Mother Divine, what she said, it was quite interesting how the whole project began, how she wanted this project done on earth, and of course is still here to help us with her presence so much, is standing behind every single woman who's willing to do this work. Segment 3 of the DVD is the diagram of the 12 female archetypes. So these 12 archetypes, you know, we handed down to ourselves from the matrilinear era of 6,000 years ago. They came down to us in a very pure form, and then during the patriarchy, each of them was taken and fractured and polarized and corrupted. So those energies have played out during the patriarchy, and we go into an overview of all 12. If you don't have a copy of that diagram and you would like one, you can print one very easily by going to my website and looking at my workshop page. But also we show the diagram repeatedly throughout the DVD on the screen. And also, in addition to showing the larger diagram of all 12 archetypes, we zoom in on each one as we're discussing it, so that you have a place marker as we're progressing through them. In section 4, 5, and 6, we really get into the meat of the DVD. This is when we discuss all 12 archetypes. We begin in segment 4 with Mother Earth and Mother Divine. Those two archetypes sit right next to each other on the diagram, and they form a sort of gridlock. And it's necessary to spend quite a bit of time talking about their energies in order to set the stage for the discussion of the rest. We go back in time to the Garden of Eden in the Old Testament of the Holy Bible, and we look at Adam's first wife, Lilith, his second wife, Eve, and then we come forward in history and look at the energies of the Virgin Mary. I talk in the DVD very much in the language of the Judeo-Christian tradition, because for those of us in the West, in the developed world, whether or not we grew up religious, this has had such a tremendous impact on us, this morality of the Judeo-Christian society. And I also reference the Roman Catholic Church time and time again, more than any other institution. No offense to anyone who has grown up Catholic or is Catholic now, but the writings and the rewritings of the Bible and the interpretations and the stances that the Roman Catholic Church has taken have really been part and parcel of the stringent conditioning that women have been given. Segment 5, we talk through the power chakras. These are the lower 3 chakras or energy centers in our subtle physical body. So the root chakra is about survival, the second more about birth and creativity, and the third, or the navel chakra, is about pure power. Those are the chakras, and therefore the archetypes that have been capped totally off limits to women during the patriarchal society. So we have to spend a bit of time discussing those 3, and often it churns up quite a lot of emotion for women. The first 2 segments, segments 4 and segment 5, Mother Divine, Mother Earth, and the lower power chakras, that's really a lot of upheaval. Sometimes that can happen during those segments. Segment 6, then we go into all of the other archetypes. We look at each, how they were fractured, how they were polarized, how they were corrupted. With segment 7, I have included a question and answer period. You know, for the DVD, I took 2 workshops. One was taped in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and the other in Cleveland, Ohio. And I've spliced together the best of both. So these were questions that came up during those 2 workshops, and I really feel are quite common. They come up commonly in my in-person workshops. So I've included them here so that you have a little bit of a sense. Hopefully you'll have some of your questions answered. You know, if you're watching the DVD in a group, then we're going to have some in-person time together on the phone. And during that time, we'll have additional questions and answers. And also, if you've purchased the DVD, just a single DVD, then you'll have time during my teleconferences for additional questions. Segment 8 is the mechanics of perception. This is a really important aspect of the DVD. We totally shift gears at this point away from talking so much about the 12 archetypes, and we speak really about the mechanics of how consciousness works in our day-to-day life, how we pull experiences to us repeatedly, how the universal self or the higher self is constantly pulling things that we're then turning away from, running in the opposite direction, saying, I don't want to deal with that, that's too uncomfortable. And if we understand the mechanics of how perception works and how our higher self is really pulling those experiences, if we can break that habit and turn to face them and begin to deal with them, then that goes a long way in terms of beginning the work of, or continuing the work if you've already done quite a lot of work, with bringing all of these various corrupted energies of female conditioning to rest. And the last segment, segment 9, is a question and answer period from my 2 workshops that followed the mechanics of perception. So those questions have to do with processing, and I've also included some general questions that came up because I thought that they might be interesting to you.